Okay, yesterday we were busy with the director's fee, so let's just quickly recap. If I look here, we have two directors. Brenda earns 10,000 more than Johan. In other words, Johan earns X and Brenda earns X plus 10,000. Now they say here, she didn't get her money for February, meaning it's an accrued expense, and that's why I need to add it in my income statement. So now let's quickly look. Johan took unpaid leave for the last 3 months, and this is how I got to this calculation here, where I say Johan only got paid for 9 months because 3 months was unpaid, X. Susan got paid 11 months, but she got X plus 10,000. And that gives me the director's fees here, which was paid out, the 1,610. Right, and now I need to solve X. Right, so now 9X, 11 times X, 11 times 10 equals 1,610. And now I go and I say, okay, so this gives me 20x equals, if I take that over the line, I've got 1,610. Let's see if you can see it like this. I've got 1,610 less 110, and that gives me 1.5 million. And if I divide that by 20, I get 75,000 per month. Right. But now, remember, Susan got 10,000 more per month, meaning they still owe her 85,000. That 85,000, I'm going to put in the income statement here as an accrued expense. And remember then, in my balance sheet face with payables, I will also add 85,000. Okay, so let's quickly just refer to the memo. Let's go to payables, and can you see, there's the 85,000. Right, so let's go back. Next adjustment, I go and I see, okay, I've already done the debtors transfer. Let's go to the company invested in 3 fixed deposits of equal value. One of them will mature in May. Now, if I go look at my trial balance, I see my fixed deposits is 1.5 million, meaning if I divide it by 3, I will see that each one was 500,000. So what am I going to do? If I go to the face of the balance sheet, I will see that I took out here at the top the 500. Can you see I'm left with 1 million? And the 500,000 that matured, I'm going to put with cash equivalents. So in other words, here at the top, it's 1.5 less 5 gives me 1 million. And here I put the 500 that's going to mature. Next one. Next one, they say amount of tax is still owed to SARS. So they give me my balance for SARS. So let's quickly go look. This is a payable. Can you see there? There it is. Please guys, always remember that in here you always write the outstanding amount, not the income tax amount. So if you look at that 1.1152, this is, if you look at the trial balance here, can you see such there is 1049. That's how much I already paid. Okay, but they tell me I still owe 103. Okay, where did they get that 1152? They would get that in the income statement. So let's quickly go look at the income statement. If I look here at the income statement, can you see they gave me the tax? 1152. Okay. So that's where they got it. Let's go back to the memo. Can you see there? Let me get that away. There's the 1152. That's the income tax I'm supposed to pay, less the tax I already paid. So this one here, the 1152, I get in the income statement as the income tax. And the 1049 I found in the trial balance at SASH. This is my provisional payments. Okay, let's go on. Next one I want to see is they give me dividends. Now, very important. If you look, most probably when they give you a trial balance, can you see here right at the bottom, they give me dividends on ordinary shares. Now the dividends on ordinary shares they give you there, you are not allowed to put it in the income statement. It doesn't go in the income statement. It goes to the retained income note, and it would be your interim dividends. Okay, sure. So now let's go see. They tell me here interim dividend 990, and can you see 990? And then they say final dividends due 264. And that 264 I have to put in the face of the balance sheet. Can you see? There it goes. Why? Because we still owe it to the shareholders, so it's a liability. Okay. Let's see, is there anything less? Now they talk here about a debt equity ratio. So this is a thing that they like to do in your balance sheet and even in the income statement, but most often in the balance sheet. What they do is they want you to solve a puzzle. So they're going to give you parts and other parts they're going to leave out. So now they want to see if you can use the parts they give to fill in the parts they didn't give. So let me show you. So I printed out the face of the balance sheet. So let's just quickly look. What amounts do I have at this stage? So at this stage I have the investment, that is done. I have the inventory. If you look at your trial balance, you can see they gave debtors control. There it is, the 483. They gave the commission income was an adjustment, the transfer, the rent. Okay, and what is this? Oh, this 350 times 330 is basically the 115,500, if I'm not wrong. Okay, it's just an alternative. So I have the debtors. The cash, if I go look at cash, they did give me bank is favorable, 629. And then I added the 500 from the fixed deposit. So I can also block on top. Right. Now, let's go look here. Ordinary share capital is printed, but can you see they don't give me retained income? Because the retained income they gave here is a very big question mark. Right. So, now I need to remember, I still need to get those two. Let me highlight them. I don't have this one, and I don't have this one. Can you see, by the way, that this is only 3 marks? Okay, the loan is printed in. My payables, remember they did give me my creditors, that's given. I calculated fee income, I calculated director's fees, I did the transfer, so I can get that. The current portion of loan, can you see it's printed in? Okay, so that one is done. The SASH income tax we've done, shareholders for dividends we've done. So now I can also block on top. So can you see literally the only things that I need to get is the ordinary share capital, equity, and the retained income. And now what do they give me? They give me SHE. They give me, if you look here, the debt equity ratio. So the debt equity ratio, you haven't done it yet in grade 12, but I mean it's exactly the same as grade 11. It would be your loan to your equity. Okay? Now you know your loan they give you. It's 4512 550. What is your equity? Now if you go look here, they tell you what is your equity. It's your ordinary share capital and retained income. So in other words, that equity is your it's your SHE, which is equal to your ordinary share capital and your retained income. So my ordinary share capital they gave me, it's 20 million. But I don't have my retained income, so I make that a X. Okay. And now what do they give me? They give me that this ratio in the end is 0.2 to 1. Now, what do I know in other words? If I take this calculation, how do I get to 0.2 to 1? Remember, what do? I say this guy is 20 million plus X. If I divide it by itself, it gives me 1. And this guy, if I divide 20 million plus X, it will give me 0.2. So let's go write it down for ourselves. 4512550 divided 20 million plus X will equal 0.2. Right. So everybody sharp with that one. So I just need to see quickly. I can also, can you see that this becomes quite a complicated calculation? But you can do it that way. Then you get your retained income, right? And that means that in your little block, you've got your capital is 20 million. Your retained income is then whatever you get there, and then you just block on top. Okay. The other way you can do it is you can say, oh, you know what? Let's do it a little bit easier. I can also work it that I find the shareholders' equity and then work it to the retained income, which I think is an easier method. So if I say 4512550, ne? Divided X. So what am I doing now? I am now making this whole thing X. The whole shareholders' equity is now X. So now what do? I say 45. Can you see this is an easier method? 550 equals 0.2 X. Because if I times with X, this cancels out and this becomes an X. So now it's literally going to be 4512550 divided 0.2, and it gives me 22. So X equals 22562,750, which I got here, you see? And now I just say that 22 less the 20 gives me the 25. If I want to continue with this one, if I wanted to calculate the retained income, I would do it exactly the same. Now it's just going to be, let me make this smaller. It's just going to be 4512550, if I continue here, equals 0.2 times 20,000 plus X. And then I solve this X, and this X would then equal to the retained income, the 2560, and then you just block on top there. Okay. Everybody sharp. But as you can see with the marking, they assume that you do the shorter, easier route, where you literally get the total first, the shareholders' equity. Is everybody sharp? I hope so.